as I walked in the workshop, and obviously everyone's always up and about, and they're all sat down, and I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. Because I've been away for 3 years, you get quickly like, not say forgotten about, but people don't really know who you are. And I sort of got hooked. When I got the boat back, I was like, road racing, like, that'll be awesome. And I don't know what happened, but I must have got stage fright or something. But after 2 laps of Silverstone, I got arm pumped. Once I get that podium and I can stand there, I'll feel like a true superbike rider, like I've actually made a mark. Honestly, I've not lived enough life, I don't think, to have enough important decisions.
Welcome to Oulton Park in beautiful leafy Cheshire. This is round 2 of the Bennett's British Superbike Championship, with bikes going out already, as you can hear around us, give you a bit of the atmosphere of Sunday at Oulton Park. We're on the roof of Completely Motorbikes Kawasaki's hospitality unit, because the next episode from Oulton Park is their younger rider, Max Cook. He made his name in the junior classes in the British Talent Cup before heading over to Spain to become the next British hope in Grand Prix. That didn't work out as well as he'd hoped, so it's back to the UK in Stock 6 and ultimately to become a Bennett's British Superbike rider. That's Max Cook. This is Off Track, the motorcycle racing podcast.
Max Cook, Completely Motorbikes FS3 Kawasaki. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Dave. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Welcome to the show. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. It's my first one since July 2022, wasn't it?
You've been looking it up in your diary.
No, I just remember it.
Thruxton.
Yeah.
Baking hot in the Ugly & Co trailer. Mm-hmm. It was great to catch up with you then, but there's a lot happened since then. Yeah. You were heading towards the Stock 6 crown at the time, which we were successful at.
Yes.
It's a monster season. Absolutely superb season, which then led to the Superbike debut last year. Before we get on to this year, tell me about the transition to a Kawasaki ZX-10RR.
It was a bit nuts, to be honest. Obviously, you know the jump's going to be massive. Power-wise, go from a standard 600cc bike to one with, we got a key to turn it on and the indicator button's still there. Obviously, it's a standard bike, to a full-blown Kawasaki, factory Kawasaki Superbike, one of the best teams in the most competitive national championship in the world. So it's like, not only the bike's gone so much faster, but the competition as well has gone absolutely through the roof, because I'm sure every single person on the grid in British Superbikes could absolutely smoke a Stock 6 race if they were just to do it tomorrow. So, the competition has gone up loads. So, yeah, it was definitely like a sink or swim. I've been thrown right into the deep end,
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm glad I managed to float up to the top and do a good job.
You absolutely did. And when you watch sort of Ryan Vickers previously, he was the last one to go Stock 6 to Superbike. Mm-hmm. And it's that depth of field and the experience that they have absolutely can't be underestimated. How old were you when you stepped up? 20?
Yeah, so I was 20. I was 19 when I got the news.
Yeah.
And then 20 was the first full year.
Which, I don't know, see, when you rock up to the first test, because I remember you did like a shakedown at Donington, didn't you?
I did a track day, and at that
was
point,
cold and a bit wet.
It was actually before the last round of Brands in 2022.
Because you was on the Binch R6 for that, weren't you?
And people were sort of thinking, there was actually a chance I could have done the last round of Brands straight in the Superbike class. There was
right in the championship fight.
Yeah. Because Rory got injured at Oulton.
Of course he did.
Remember.
Yeah.
So actually, there was a big chance. Well, he actually didn't do it. So there was a chance I couldn't do it. And then there was that with Binch, obviously, or with that year, we had a Super Sport wildcard all lined up and Carl Cox sponsorship, and it was pretty cool. So I couldn't believe really what was going on. So that was pretty mental part of my life, to be fair. So. But now I'm glad I didn't do Brands on the Superbike, to be honest, because I would have been absolutely stone last. I think it would have really hit me hard, and yeah, I'm glad that things all figured out the way they did.
And the Supersport bike with Binch and Carl Cox Motorsport, it wasn't a particularly bad outing, was it, for your first time on the Supersport bike?
No, that was awesome. Obviously, I rode an R6 all year that year anyway, and then we did a Super Sport, because to be honest, I thought that was where we were going to go for 2023, with me to be riding in Super Sport. So We did that wild card, which was an awesome experience, to be fair. But it is just like BSB, British Superbikes, but just for 600s, because stock 6 you can get away with not putting in new tyres every session and cutting corners here and there. And we rolled out of FP1. It's the first time Binch have done it as well in Supersport. And we rolled out of pit and everyone's got new tyres on, and I'm on my old scrubs from the round before. I'm like, all right, maybe we're on the back foot already. And, you know, it's just all learning. It was a massive learning weekend, and it was a great experience. And I had a load of exposure from it as well, obviously, with that one-off livery. It looked really cool. And obviously, I was a champion at the time with the stock 6. So a lot of people were watching as well. And I was pretty happy with my performance. You know, I was in the battle for 4th. Got up to 4th as well, led the group for a bit, and was battling with some like big names as well, considering, like, you know, Binch at the time had no data for their bike, and, you know, I didn't really know what to expect. And to be honest, I pushed so hard, and you know, I did a really competitive lap time, to be fair, at the end of the race. So by the end of the weekend, things were looking really good.
It's okay.
It's all right,
It's
George.
absolute, not a problem. Not a problem. We can't work out where to put the recording sign to let people know. We can't plug it in outside. Yeah.
Oh. No, it's now idiot proof.
Let's hope so.
No,
We're in a British Superbike paddock, really?
that's true.
No, it's okay. Small interlude.
Yeah.
Brands Hatch on the Supersport bike. You were talking about how you were competitive at the end of the weekend. Binch, no data, but then looking to go Supersport in 23.
Mm-hmm.
When did the opportunity then arise to go to British Superbike with, at the time, it was a sponsor time, Cheshire Mouldings Kawasaki?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, you know, really, hang on, interlude again.
Is that Jordan again? Oh no, is it Darren?
Hi.
If the team boss wants his G&T, the team boss can have his G&T. What the? What do you say it was idiot proof? Who was the first one?
See, that's of course, isn't it? Darren Fry, the first person to ignore the idiot proof
Idiot proof
signage, recording sign.
We've got a neon red recording sign on the door behind us, behind the camera, and the first person to ignore the big red sign that says recording is a team boss, Darren Fry. So thanks, mate. Max, let's carry on. Hopefully they'll get more interruptions. If somebody comes down those stairs from the roof, I'm probably going to end up flicking their ear or something. So when the opportunity to ride the Superbike for Cheshire Mouldings Kawasaki at the start of last year, when did that change from Supersport to Superbike?
So it was all, you know, lined up for Superbike. You know, I've not signed anything at this point, but it was after Brands Hatch. You know, it was still like on the cards as well. Like Nigel was, you know, I'm sure, you know, he was really pushing to get me onto it, and, you know, but it's not just Nigel involved. You've got the guys at Kawasaki, you got the title sponsor. You know, there's so many people who they got to keep happy, and they've got to pick the right rider, isn't they?
Yeah.
But I was
Got to be the right fit.
I don't live too far from the workshop, and I was going on a track day to El Maria. I was going on a track day to El Maria on my ZX10R, like on Darren's practice bike.
Yeah.
And he let me borrow it. So I was like, oh, mint. So I went to the workshop, just because I did do some checks on it, and, you know, just did a service for it before I was leaving.
You serviced your own bike before you went out?
Yeah. Well, which is fine. Like, yeah, I enjoy doing
do it.
No, I enjoy doing it. So I was just giving it a once over, and I was actually in the workshop on my own because it was like just after Brands, I think, or maybe a week or two after. And I seen there was a piece of paper on the toolbox, and it had a load of lists of riders' names on it, and the ones highlighted were the ones like they wanted.
Okay.
And I don't want to say like any names.
No.
I look at, oh, well, there and I'll highlight it. So like, oh yeah, mint, because it went through like a phase. I was like, all right, mega. And then anyway, so I came back. It was like going back and forth like this. Nigel was, yeah, Max is looking good, and oh no, Max, I don't think it's looking good. By the way, you know, when stuff's happened, so you know it ain't going your way. So okay, right. So I was like, Nigel, I'm coming into the workshop. This was probably like early November to pick up that Darren's practice bike, 'cause I need to go and load it up for this track day. And he was like, okay, great. Well, actually, we'll all have a meeting there. So, like, yeah, being prepared sort of thing. I was like, oh, right, mint. And then I got there and then see Nigel, whatever, I sat down. And I think, well, me, Darren, Matt, and Dan, the mechanic, all sat round in this like table as I walked in the workshop. And obviously everyone's always up and about, and they're all sat down. And I was like, oh, I'm in trouble, or something like that. Like,
oh, no. Reaction.
Yeah, it's like
what have I done?
Being called into like their teacher's office, isn't it? Like, oh no. And then, so anyway, and then I was sat there, and then Nigel sat there and goes, yeah, we've got you the Superbike ride for next year. And I like jumped about my seat.
Simple as that.
Just like that, first thing. And I was like, no way. And I was like, and then I like, now you're taking a piss, aren't you? Because we've been on about it for so long. And I was like looking around, see if there was like a camera somewhere. They didn't camera. I thought they were like taking the piss, but no, they were like well happy. Like I couldn't believe it, and no, it was mega. To be fair, just to have that, I don't know. It just obviously I've had a tough couple of years coming back into this paddock and sort of doing it on my own and like trying to find a path. Like myself, obviously with the help of Nigel and my sponsors, and then to finally sort of make it, I'm like, I couldn't really believe it, to be honest. So
it was a ride that was earned.
Yeah.
And Nigel Snook, the S of FS3, has been a long-time supporter of yours, hasn't he? He's kind of helped bring you along into the paddock and been a long-time supporter and sponsor of your career. Tell me about that time that, before we come to the good stuff with the Superbike, because you've had a fantastic transition to that, the difficulty of being on the cusp of GP and going through kind of what Casey O'Gorman's doing now, what Eddie O'Shea's doing now, going through junior GP and being Britain's next great hope in GPs. But then it all changed.
Yeah.
Tell me about the time in junior GP and then what the road was to come back to the British paddock.
Yeah, so you know, I was on, for anyone that don't know, so I did the British Summit Cup. With me and I was up there in 2018. Me and Rory Skinner were riding. And I actually got third in 2018 in that British Summit Cup season. And that was enough, I think, potential to let the likes of Dorna to see that I guess had a bit about me, and they promoted me into the Junior World Championship, Junior Moto 3 World Championship.
Were you the youngest of the three?
Yeah.
Was it Rory? Was it Thomas Strudwick?
Rory, yeah.
And then
Rory,
yourself?
Thomas and me, yeah. So, yeah, I was the youngest of the three. And to be fair, if I didn't like win or podium, I fell off. To be fair, and just because there wasn't many rounds, it didn't really go in my favour. To be honest, but no, I think, you know, I had good potential, and I was perhaps the only one who could stay with Rory. And during that year, I was doing the Red Bull Rookies as well. So, you know, that was a really cool experience. So for 2019, I was on this ladder, Dorna supported rider, I guess, for, you know, the British talent team, and they need British riders, you know, and they still do.
They do.
So, you know, everything was going really well, and then, you know, I got a podium in Red Bull Rookies, and stuff was going real good. In 2020, I was still, you know, in the British talent team, and I broke my pelvis halfway through that year. And that year, obviously, it was weird for everybody. But basically, we had 2 rounds on the same weekend, so they were like 5-day weekends, and we had like 2 Sundays. We had like a full day of racing on Sunday, and then another full day of racing on Monday. But the Sunday would be round 1, and then the Monday would be round 2. So like I missed like 2 or 3 rounds.
It's a ridiculous amount of points to miss out on.
And I broke my hip, but then I came back and then had a really good showing, and was in with the front group, and then I thought things were going pretty good. I had like Carmelo Espeleta on the phone and that, like telling me like doing mint, and then in November, unfortunately, they just said there's nothing we can do for you, Max, just like that. So I didn't really know what to do. I couldn't really believe it, really. Obviously, because it's a massive step up anyway, and to only be given a year and a half. Obviously, I'm well grateful for it, and it was a huge learning experience for me. But after that, I really weren't too sure what to do myself, because it's mid-November, it's late, isn't it? I didn't know.
Most rides are sorted, mate.
Exactly. Oh, everything's done, and I thought, do I come back do super sport? And if I can, it's going to be a load of money, because I'm not an established rider in the British Superbike paddock. Because I've been away for 3 years, you get quickly, like, not say forgotten about, but people don't really know who you are and what the competition's like over in Spain as well. So it is very tough part of my career, I guess you could say. And then Nigel was like, look, Max, we're going to do stock 6. I'll buy you the bike, but you're just going to have to run it yourself. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, it's totally fair. And that year I learned so much. I just started driving. I had my van. That was the race truck, as you like, and had my bike in there, all my tools and stuff, and I'd unload it into Gary Wilson's awning. And Gary Wilson runs a mega British Talent Cup team. And, that's who I won the championship with in 2017. So it was nice to be back in there, and I was next to my brother as well. So that was cool. But then I had to sort of be on the spanners, and then I couldn't really crash it because I couldn't afford to fix it, and I didn't know how to fix it either. And it was such like obviously you're from hero to zero sort of thing. And then I was doing like odd jobs just to earn money for the weekend to come racing. Like, I picked up golf balls at driving range. I worked for Hermes for 2 years, and that was all right, to be fair. And it weren't too bad. Kept me fit, so no, that was good. And that was all just to go racing at the weekend. And that year was just tough, because I honestly thought I'd come back and almost win stock 6 the first year, to be honest. I thought that, everything I learned in Spain, I could just come back and go boom, and be right up there. But it weren't like that, especially doing everything on my own, it was really, really tough.
One thing I know from my time years ago working with Jordan Weaving, when he stepped up from Motostar, as it was at the time, to stock 6, it's the single biggest step in domestic motorcycle racing that you can make in terms of weight and power. Going from a super sport to a superbike isn't as big a weight move or power move, but from a 60 odd horsepower Honda, you're on a Honda, weren't you?
Yeah.
Honda? You were, weren't you? The 60 horsepower Honda to double and a bit more horsepower and nearly at least double and a bit the weight with new lines and everything else. It's not straightforward to go from Moto3 to a stocker.
No, and also it was just the tracks. I had a massive wake-up call. Obviously, spending so much of my time during the years riding like Jerez and Valencia, where there's just like yards, like meters of runoff forever, just runoff.
Hello, Cadwell.
And literally, the first test was Oulton Park on this bike. Literally, just picked it up from MSS, this bike. I'm like, oh, mega, like, sweet. Picked it up, come to this official test at Oulton Park. It was June, so 2021. It started
middle of 21,
late.
it was a late start.
So it was really nice, good weather and whatever. And I hit a false neutral going into turn 1 of Oulton. And next thing you know, I'm in the wall.
Turn 1's fast.
Yeah, turn 1, literally, false neutral, bikes all over the place, let the clutch out, bang him in the wall before I've even sorted anything out. Before I had time to think I'm in the wall. And then I just couldn't believe it. The bike was a mess, and I just, if that was anywhere else, I would have just stood it up, ran on, and come back on, wouldn't you?
Too easy.
And that's what really sort of woke me up coming back to England.
So to do it yourself, has that given you the ground? I mean, you're a grounded fella anyway. There's no rock star about it. Now that's something I love. You go about your business. You come to race. You love your racing, and you're great fun to chat. We see each other in the paddock anyway, don't we? And you're always great fun to chat to. But going on to that season to do it yourself, what was the biggest thing you found out about yourself in terms of you as a person and your riding?
To be fair, I've never been asked this question before, to be honest. But I think I had a lot of like disbelief, to be honest, because I feel like the off-track duties was so like massive, and I couldn't actually focus on what I was doing on the circuit, because when I had my helmet on, I was going around racing. I just thought like, have I done this or have I done that? And it's just there's just stuff going around where you're not 100% confident. Obviously, I was at 18 at the time, so couldn't really think about what I was doing, and there's a lot going on, and it's like,
distractions.
Yeah, you're spending a lot of money, to go racing every weekend, and so by the end of it, I was like, probably gonna have to stop. Like, I can't do another year of that because it's just not worth it, because I'll just be stressing too much about, can't crash the bike.
I find it incredible that, I love the stories of the riders that have had to work for it, and you've had the chance with Dorna, it didn't work out. Similar to Danny Kent. I sat with Danny yesterday and was talking to him about his time in Moto2 and the time that he had in between, and then coming back into National Superstock as a Moto3 world champion. I thought, that's a brave move. And the same for you to understand that you're like, right, well, this is what we've got to do. If I want to get in that paddock, nobody's taking any notice of me because I'm a small bike rider, and nobody's going to take a punt because I'm unproven on the British tracks. Despite Danny's obvious talent, your obvious talent, you don't get out to Spain and Dorna for no reason. And to come back and then to have to do that, it takes a certain kind of determination to get through that season. Yeah,
like I think, obviously, for me, racing is just my life, and I can't see my life without racing, and that is the only thing I can do. And I just had to put all my efforts into getting through that 1 year, and there was points where I couldn't really see the light, but then there was other points where a whole weekend went really well, and I managed to get on the podium that year. Twice I managed to get on the podium, which was actually really good, and it felt like a win, obviously, for all of that hard months of emotionally and stuff, and then to finally get a third place in the dry at Snare was like, honestly, it felt like a win. It was absolutely like mental.
But it was.
Yeah.
The wins, they're not always stood at the top of the podium spraying a fizzy about. Wins are closing the gap to the leader. If you finish 10th or your first points or your first podium. And I completely get that. And it's that keeps you going. And that's the kind of thing that you deserve for the effort that you put in to go, we can do this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it was so good. And then I sort of started to figure out this 600 as well, because obviously it was a big jump for me as well, like machine wise, and started
lines are completely different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everything were different. And then towards the end of the year, when we went back to the tracks, when we do the revisits at the end of the year, sort of managed to figure everything out, and then I started to be right up there in the top 5. So things did go really good, and I had so much help from Gary Wilson that year as well, who helped me loads growing up, and obviously Nigel with the bike, loads of sponsors who could do tyres, and then that's where things went interesting for the year after, when I went with Binch. So obviously Binch were the team to be on. They had Zach Corduroy in 2021.
Yeah.
So they were the team that always looked up to anyway. And it kind of went about. I didn't have anything sorted that year. I'm kind of done with racing in a way. I weren't too sure what was going to happen, and it was a really weird month. It was probably only a month, but it felt like a long time.
Yeah.
But
month's a long time in racing.
Yeah, and it was after October. It was probably like end of October, I want to say, Danny Webb rings me up. Me and Danny were really close growing up. He's looked after me for quite a long time. It's almost like got like a manager, mentor, bit of guidance.
Sure.
He's got a load of contacts. He's been around for a while.
He's been around a while,
Yeah,
that boy.
yeah. So he does know a load of people. And anyway, he just rings me up. He's like, Max, you got anything sorted? I'm like, no, nothing. And he's like, I think we need to have a meeting with Binch. I've just had a phone call. Just like rang him up. Do you want to go tonight? We'll go to Mansfield tonight. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. So he picks me up. And we go to Mansfield, meet Dave for the first time. And at that point, I think he had a few people already like lined up, because
It's one of those teams, isn't it, that people at the end of
queuing
the
up for.
before the end of the season, it's
Yeah,
excuse me, Dave,
exactly.
I'll ride your bike next year.
Yeah, exactly. I think they nearly won the championship, and but it was at this point Dave didn't take a lot of notice of me that year, because obviously I was behind Binch. I weren't really a rival to Zach Cordroy that year. 21. Zach Cordroy got second. Jack Nixon won the championship.
Jack Nixon won it, didn't he, on the Santander
Zach
assault bike?
got second.
Yeah.
I think Talbot got third.
Joe, that's right. That went down to the final round,
That
didn't
was
it? George Stanley, I think, was
Stanley fourth, I think.
Yeah, he was fourth. Yeah.
Yeah. So that year I never really rivaled Binch. So Dave, I don't think really knew much about me at the time. And you know, Dave, I guess he didn't keep much of an eye on the junior like categories or the junior Moto3 championship either. So he didn't really have a clue who I was, to be honest. If I'm sure if you're watching now, he'd agree. I don't think he really knew. But Danny was like proper bigging me up, and that was quite a situation where I've learned a little bit recently, but I was terrible at the start, because like I've never really been bigged up or anything, and I don't really like showing off, or I don't really know how to put it. But Danny was like proper bigging me up, and he was like, Max, you got to say this, you got to be confident, like, because you got to have this ride.
You're one of the riders I know best with the least of an ego.
Really? Thank you.
You're welcome. Carry on.
Thank you. But then, anyway, so I think Danny did most of the talking that evening. But anyway, came back, and I think things went pretty smooth. And then from there, it was I think it went back and forth a few times. Nigel then got involved. You know, Nigel was telling them about this, and then Nigel was like, "Look, we will sell this bike that I bought for you, this ZX6. We will sell this to fund 1 year of racing with Binch, and after that, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, that's it." So it was all your eggs into this one basket, and we had a sponsor, Neil Raw Palm Tenerife. You may have seen they've been with me for ages. It's been Neil and Nigel. They've been my two biggest sponsors for about 6-7 years. So then Neil were like proper excited as well, and then it finally got announced at the bike show, and I think so many people were like well happy for me, like, because they seen I managed to get into this team. Cause and then the people that knew that I was doing it on my own. I weren't really with Team FS3 that year. I was in the paddock in a tent somewhere.
You still had your own awning.
I was living, yeah. They knew it was separate, so everyone were well happy, and I think they thought I could probably do pretty good in 2022. But yeah, everything was riding on it. I had nothing after that, so I had to win. But then
no pressure.
No pressure. But I absolutely loved it, because I had the team with me. I could only focus on my riding. You know, I had Dave, all the mechanics. They had all the data there. Everything was done for me, and I could appreciate that so much more in 2022 because of how hard the year before was. And I just could really enjoy my riding. Absolutely loved it.
Apart from round one.
Sorrymate.com are specialist motorcycle accident solicitors that have decades of experience dealing with all types of motorbike accident claims. They know that having the right person represent you with your motorcycle accident claim can make a huge difference in all aspects of your journey to recovery that follows any motorbike accident. Sorrymate.com is run by bikers for bikers. I know the team well. They're genuinely great people who really care about their clients. Head to sorrymate.com to find out how the team can help you, or just click the link in the description below.
I did enjoy it. didn't enjoy the race, but I enjoyed.
Didn't enjoy the race.
If you look back at timesheets, I enjoyed them bits, not the race.
You would front row nearly every race.
Yeah,
Pole position, if not.
yeah,
And think second, was it first or second lap? Asher took you out at Silverstone.
yeah. First lap, yeah,
A little
first
bit,
lap.
but
I get it. You know,
it happens. It happened. But not
yeah,
the start
I
to
get
the
it.
season
Yeah.
because you topped, I think, every session.
Yeah.
I think you went off on pole,
yeah,
and it was kind of it was all set.
mm-hmm.
The stars and the planets had aligned. This is it. Nice livery with the red, white, and black.
Yeah, really
it
smart,
looked
yeah.
really cool.
Mm.
And then that happens, and it's like, oh, how do you have to then? Hang on a minute. This is my chance. This is what I wanted. I've worked so hard for this. I had a shit year last year with good flashes. Now I've got all my ducks in a row, and then that happens.
Yeah.
How do you pull yourself back from that?
Well, I was gutted at the time. Like we only had one race that weekend
Exactly.
as well, and I was absolutely gutted. You know, drove home just gutted because like I broke the lap record in qualifying, and that was my goal. My goal was to win the championship, obviously, and win as much as I could. Like anyone else's. But I like to set my goal further, and it was lap record. And if I didn't get a lap record, I wouldn't have driven it happy. Honestly, that was how it went. I know Tilly's there, and Tilly's totally agreeing because there was times where I didn't get it, and I wouldn't be happy, even though I'd won, but I didn't get a lap record, so I wasn't happy.
Be hard on yourself, Max.
Oh, terribly hard. Like honestly, like yeah, like a bit weird. So I'm sure some people would think like, surely, like, cheer up, Max. You know what I mean? Like, just be happy that you did good that year, but. Lap record was my goal. I just had timesheets, sectors, everything, like how I'm going to do this. Because I had everything. I had the team, I had a good bike. I knew I was good. I knew I was capable to do it. Yeah. So that was it, lap record, and that was my sight. And I got lap record in qualifying for Silverstone, but because I didn't do it in the race, it don't count.
Doesn't count.
So you won't see it on a record book anywhere because I didn't make it around a lap. But yeah, so that was obviously a bit of a killer. But
I bring that up because the season was pretty flawless after that. But coming from where you did, and then everything coming through and testing, and everything went fantastically well, to then have that thrown at you in the first round, it just gives a little bit of context to the season. Because then dust yourself off, and then away on then to win the championship, which then put you in line for the FS3 ride.
That's right, yeah. And that year was just, that 22 year really just put a massive spring into my step. I had a few ups and downs, but I got a fair few lap records. I don't know how many, but I got a fair few lap records.
Some.
Yeah, some lap records. I also just absolutely, loved that year, and managed to do that Super Sport like wildcard at the end as well was awesome. But during that year, I always wanted more. That was the toughest thing probably Dave Binch and Tilly had to deal with that year, which just always wanted more. Like there was other events going on, like World Super Sport. I was like, Dave, we're doing World Super Sport, and I got everything all together and realised they didn't have the right like ECU, and that had to cost 10 grand, and you got to buy your tyres in bulk at World Super Sport. I didn't realise, and it's like 5 grand.
It's with 5 grand,
and then you can't even keep them. You got to give them back. I know.
So you have to rent tyres.
You rent tyres, yeah, in World Super Sport.
What?
Yeah, you rent tyres. So that's why we didn't do it. Just mental money. And then I thought, we'll do a Spanish like CV stock 6 round.
Yeah.
Portimao, like we'll just get the lads over, just drive over.
As you do.
We'll just do it, like same requirements and whatever. And then they did. Honestly, the boys were dead keen. I think they did love it, to be fair. But no, I'm just happy we did the Stars of Dali as a test on that Super Sport, and then that was quite cool for me.
Dali.
Yeah, because that year as well, because Binch are quite a big TT. They come from road racing.
Yeah, they're road racing team.
I managed to get a last minute ferry over to the Isle of Man. And me and Charlie Atkins went over. We've been best friends for ages. And it was great, to be fair. Went over for like 2 days. And I sort of got hooked. When I got the boat back, I was like, road racing, like, that'll be awesome. Like, think how much fun they're having. Think they've got the whole road closed and they can just go as fast as they want.
That's kind of the basics of it.
Yeah.
But the reality is,
I know from the side, from real, you think you just see the danger. But when you're sat on it, I'm sure like you're
That's
not
exactly
thinking
why they do it.
exactly. I think it would be nuts. So anyway, I had that. I was like, Dave, we'll do that. I'll learn the track, whatever. I was a bit keen. I just wanted to. I wasn't really fully committed, but anyway, Dave was like, we'll do Darley Moor. We'll do Darley Moor as it's like a test and Darley Moor. And I did the first session of Darley Moor, and it was a bit too close to me. All the walls were everywhere like that, and that was the end of my road racing, whatever fantasy, like thinking of whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was a good test, and I got character of the meeting for some reason, which totally took me by surprise. No.
Character of the meeting.
There's a spirit of the meeting or something. There's a picture of me holding the envelope. Like, spirit of the meeting. So that really that made me very happy.
How nice.
Yeah. I don't know why they chose me, because I thought they got the wrong person, to be fair. But
was your brother racing as well?
No.
James. Which one is it? It's fine. When you switch to the Superbike, as you said, it is the most competitive class that you could ever join in domestic racing. What were your first feelings, that first test, when you go out on track with Brooksy and Hickey and Brad and Kyle and the rest of them that are out there?
Yeah, so my first proper go on the Superbike was in Spain at a circuit called Monte Blanco. I'd never ridden there before this test, and it was real good because it was open pit lane, and the team had actually arranged this like 2-week trip to Spain of just testing. So me and Jacko were together. It was mint, to be fair. I was loving it because I knew there was no pressure. So, I was just improving every day, just get a bit faster, and the bike started to feel like mine. And then we came back to England, did some testing in the rain in Silverstone. Then we came to round 1, the race meeting. Then it started to feel real. I mean, new leathers on, all coloured, Kawasaki, everything looked proper factory. Bike's full livery now, not just black. And I'm like, all right. And we all rolled out of pit lane together. And I don't know what happened, but I must have got stage fright or something. But after 2 laps of Silverstone, I got arm pump. Couldn't hold on to it. Couldn't hold on to the bike for the whole weekend. And the whole weekend, to be fair, was a bit of a washout because I couldn't hang on to the bike. Just tensed up. I don't know what happened.
It sounds a bit like stage fright, doesn't it?
I actually had stage fright.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh shit, I'm actually out with these guys now. So
here I am.
Yeah. And that was a bit tough because I was at the back of the grid, and I look back on it now and I think, geez, I've come a long way. But at the time, I knew in myself, and I'm sure the team knew as well. Like, I'm only going to improve. So that was good.
You can't be judged on your first race.
No,
not by any stretch.
No.
At what point last season did you realise that you were now a Superbike rider, that everything clicked and you weren't thinking about your riding so much as the lap times? When you make that transition from how do I ride this thing and adapting, can you remember what the point was when you suddenly kind of think, I get it, I am now a Superbike rider?
I had a really good round 3 at Donington. I made it through to Super Pole, and I did my first ever Super Pole lap. Did that clean. Also, I've never been so nervous to do a lap in all my life because I knew everyone was watching me. And I've not really made an impression on the BSB paddock yet, and I'm sure like the riders, they weren't too sure who I was or what I'm about either. So I was really nervous for that because that was sort of my first impression, first sort of statement, I guess you could say, into BSB. And then I come away with like an 11th as well that weekend, which was like a personal best. So I was really over the moon. And then I was just improving little bit. And then obviously Thruxton was the massive one where I managed to lead a race, miss out on the podium by like 100th of a second, and start on the front row, get a whole shot. And that was where it all sort of fell into place, and everything felt normal to that point, which was really nice.
In front of your home crowd as well.
Yeah, which made it even better. All my family was there. I made some t-shirts for that weekend as well, and like so many people had a t-shirt on. So it was good to see.
I know I kind of know the answer to it. I think you've just about answered this question, but Thruxton the absolute highlight of the season.
Yeah, that was a highlight for the season. But then after that, I had bad crash at Cadwell straight after, which took me back quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then it was starting again, building up, and then I actually finished the year off at Brands really good. Been able to overtake. I got to 5th at one point. I overtook Jacko and Leon Haslam, and then was like, oh, cool, I'm back. It feels good. I can finish on a high. And
2023 Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. So that's
It's not a bad high, that is it? You're not going to get out. There were 6 rookies that started the year.
Mm-hmm.
It was the most competitive rookie season, I think, in many a year. Coming up with Davey Todd, Charlie Nesbitt, there was Jack Scott. That's 4. Who else was there?
Up there, Tim Neve.
Okay, yeah, of course,
In there.
Tim. Yeah, there was a few.
Yeah,
Remember the pictures at Silverstone? I think I've got 5 out of 6. I keep looking across, and Jennifer's telling me to sit up because I'm slouching. Not you, you're fine. It's me. It's like, every time I just catch her out of the corner of my eyes, she's like, look, that's exactly what she's doing. Sit up. I'm trying. Moving in then to 2024, what are your targets now for this year in your second season? You are an established British Superbike rider now, second season on the ZX10RR.
Mm-hmm.
What's this season now for you? When you get to Brands at the end of the year, what are you going to look back at as a success?
For me, I need to get this podium. I'm so determined just to get on the podium, because I know, I think Darren said on your podcast, I do need that confidence behind me, and I think it's true. I do need that confidence, that boost, and when I'm doing well, I can continue to do well, and that belief in myself really works. So I'm doing everything I can at the moment, and just once I get that podium and I can stand there, I'll feel like a true superbike rider, like I've actually made a mark, and that I'll feel at home then in this championship, and then I should be able to ride this wave. And I'm hoping, the plan would be to get a podium pretty regular from then on, which is an absolute dream for me. If I can look back, if this year I get a podium or 2 or 3, whatever, I'd be well happy with that.
I think going forward through this year, the potential that's there for the bike and for you, do you have a target round for that, or is it just you'll take it as and when it comes?
I take it as and when, to be honest. Obviously, the Kawasaki is good everywhere.
Yeah.
There's no track where it's bad at. It's strong at every track. So obviously, it's mega having Jason on team at the minute, because he's managed, in the short space of time he's been with the team, he's managed to steer the bike into this new range of setups which have never been available to the team until now. And I've tried some of them, and some of them are pretty cool. Made me go faster already. So things are looking quite good. So
that was something I was going to come to. Thank you. I was going to. If you notice, the music's gone down now.
No.
I've got a load of editing to do to try and get. I could feel the bass through my feet. So hopefully, the editing and the sound for you guys listening and watching on the YouTube isn't too bad. But I could feel it. It's like, oh no. Hopefully, these mics are really sensitive.
Are they?
Yeah, they're decent mics. So it's like through the conversation, I'm like, oh no, please. So changing teammate from 23 to 24. Jacko's moved on to pastures new. The team have brought in Jason O'Halloran, one of, if not the most experienced superbike rider, along with like Josh Brooks and Higgy. He's been around maybe since you were still at primary school. Sorry, Jace. So tell me what more he's brought into the team for you as a senior rider, and been able to change things for you.
Well, he did a shakedown test at Donington straight after Brands in 23. Literally like the Tuesday after, went from Brands then straight to Donington.
Yeah.
And there was a shakedown test there on the Kawasaki, and I went up because I just live nearby. Now, I went up and just had a listen to some of his debriefs, and he picked up on like 3 points, and they were simple points, but I was like, I'm feeling that too, and I just thought that was part of the bike. I thought that was normal. I thought that was just the characteristics of the Kawasaki, and that was it. And the team were like, no, we'll change that for you, Jace. They're like, don't worry, like, we can change that, yeah. I'm like, no way. Like, I just thought that was part of the bike.
You've nothing to refer to, have you?
Yeah, that's right, nothing. And Jace picked on just these 3 little points, and stuff like that makes a huge difference, because now those 3 points have been erased, and now the bike is, that bit easier to ride now. So,
which proved itself already in 2024. We had the opening round at Navarra, and we're here at Oulton Park this weekend. The test went super well the last couple of days, and again today, I think low 30, mid 34s.
Yeah, mid 34,
which is exactly what Kyle and Glenn and Tommy were doing on the test. They went a little bit quicker at the end, but that's in the same lap time as the experienced guys are going. So that must give you some real confidence ahead of the weekend.
That's right, and that a lot of that is Jason and the team. And obviously my riding's come on a lot as well this year, so that's obviously awesome. But yeah, like today I've knocked 0.3 off at my personal best. So we visited here twice last year, and I usually, I actually always go faster in a race than I do in practice or qualifying. So to do it in FP1, to already go like 0.3 quicker than I ever have done is, it's quite impressive. Like, and I'm pretty proud of that too. So
you're allowed to be.
Yeah, no, and I just hope I can keep going. I hope that's not it now. I just hope to keep going.
You don't want to hit that wall too early. It's like that. That's it. That's your level. That's where you're going. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's always good to sit down with you, man. We did it at Cadwell, didn't we? After you had a bang on the head, we was up on the fan merch stage.
Yeah.
And I think you even made it onto the thumbnail of our last podcast.
Oh, good, yeah.
Which
I did
you were
see that,
make sure I put you on the front
I did.
cover there.
No, that's when I couldn't get my words out because I couldn't cuss. So I didn't really know.
What were your words? I'm slower than I usually am.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about right.
Fair way to disarm the crowd, is that?
Yeah, just to prepare them.
Right. We didn't get to do this last time because it was still a bit of a hobby doing the podcast, and it was just audio. And it was your first time as well. You did good. You did good. Pick me, odd or even.
Even.
Oh, Danny did that as well. Damn. Must change
can go odd then if you want me
yes,
to.
Yes, please. Odd, did you say?
Odd,
brilliant.
Yeah,
Thanks,
odd,
Max.
Odd.
Max Cook, what's your most embarrassing moment?
Oh no.
Yes. Even Tilly's got a head in hands.
Shall I say it?
Yes. Darren's been on when he's followed through in his leathers, so it can't be.
No, shall I say it or not? No, because they might watch it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. The team found it very funny.
Good. So, right.
I'm sure Jason will find this funny as well. But this happened in Navarra, and we had a hotel room.
Oh, this is a recent one.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, and it wasn't bad. But cut it out if you think it's bad. Anyway. There's an auto check-in. It wasn't like a normal hotel.
Okay.
It was just a normal check-in.
Yeah.
Automated check-in, like a vending machine. Type in your name or whatever.
Fair. Yeah.
Right, and it just dropped out the key card. I'm like, oh, right, I'm in like room 205. But Jason and Rachel just there, and I was like, oh shit, like. Obviously they were just sat there. I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh, that's
right. No. But that was like my first impression to Jason because we're new teammates, and I was like, they don't know Jason or Rachel that well at the time, and I couldn't believe it because it's like my first impression, and
Mommy, Daddy.
I'm like, oh no, I just fully walked into their room. And I couldn't believe it because it wasn't even my fault. Like, it was just the room key that we were given. The team found it hilarious because it was me. Anyway, so we went downstairs, and then the team had arrived at this point, and then Julie, the team coordinator, had there's actually keypads on the door to the room, and she sent a big WhatsApp of everyone's key codes. She's like, I've checked you all in, guys. Here's your room key codes. So it then looks even worse because it's like we've pinned the code into their room and we can open the door.
Surprise!
And I couldn't believe it, to be honest. And Tilly were there with me, and it was quite embarrassing at the time, and it is now, to be fair. But Jason, So, yeah.
They're good people.
Yeah.
They're good people.
They broke the ice quite a bit, and laugh about it next day and that.
I had a similar thing happen for this round back in September. For some reason, I hadn't booked the Thursday night. So I always come on a Thursday, do the interviews on a Thursday, then you boys can concentrate on what you do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I booked it last minute, and it was a place in Tarpley, and I forget what it was called. But as I got there, and I'm like, as soon as you walk in, you know, this was the point that they fucked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I didn't read the reviews.
Oh, no.
No, Jennifer, I can feel her face now.
Is it bad?
Without me,
Is it?
I walked in and I'm like, the guy's on the end of his on the bar on his phone, and so like, excuse me, and he comes back, and he goes, "Oh, you checking it? Yeah, it's Dave Neal. Yeah, there's all right room for. I'll take you up." And you walk through, and it's a pub, but it's got like a bit of a B&B with it. And as you're going up the stairs, they were mucky footprints on each tread on the carpet, and I'm walking upstairs going, "Oh no."
And the smell of it.
What other day's really fusty.
Oh, nice.
So he walks up and he's like, "I've got your room key, no problem at all." Walks up, it's this one here, unlocks the door, opens the door and goes, "This is your room." There's a bloke naked on the bed on the phone to his wife.
No way.
And I look at this
really?
guy, absolute God's honest truth.
No way.
I'm like, I'm not showing
At
him.
least you didn't know it. Yeah, I'm not sure of it.
But it was the room across the corridor.
No way.
So, and he said, "Oh no, sorry." The bloke's face was white. And I was like, "Sorry." I can picture it now, and it just.
Imagine if it was someone from the pad.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Hello. So we went in the other room, and I sat down on the bed, and the bed was two single beds pushed together, and it was like the mountain ridge through the middle of it. So I messaged Jen. I'm like, "I can't stay here. Honestly, I can't stay here." So I booked into the one that we're staying in this weekend in Church Minshall, and I'm like, "Do you know what? I'll pay for that myself. The podcast ain't paying for that. I don't care. I'm not staying. They can have the money. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes later, I come bobbing down the stairs. The bloke looks at me. I went, I'm really sorry. I can't remember what I said. Oh yeah, I said my mum's had a fall. I've got to go.
No, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I'm really sorry, mate. I've just had my mum's had a fall. I've got to go. There's keys.
Did you?
Leg kit. Honestly, I couldn't get away from there quick enough.
Fair.
It's in all the years I've been doing this and staying with teams, and it was the single worst experience. So I can. I mean, I didn't know the guy. You knew Jason.
Yeah.
Right, sure.
But that makes it worse, so I think.
So that was my little story as well. So yeah, I feel your pain on that front.
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
It's just.
What do we? Let's have a look. You're too young to do dinner parties, aren't you?
Yeah.
So if you went to Mackey's,
Yeah.
how's that?
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
With 4 famous people, dead or alive,
Yeah.
who would they be?
Probably Jeremy Clarkson. Probably Jeremy Clarkson.
You can't have been twice.
And then imagine James Whittam with Jeremy Clarkson.
How cool would that
Imagine that, yeah, Whittam. So that'd be
That
a laugh,
would be
wouldn't it?
brilliant.
That would be a laugh. Probably like James Hunt.
be? Yeah,
Cool, wouldn't it?
that's a party.
What stories. And then I'd like someone kind of cool like Travis Pastrana.
Yeah.
You know.
Nice.
So that would be my lineup.
Yeah.
Imagine Whittam with Jeremy Clarkson.
That's just going to be class with a bit of
That would be
James,
so class.
with a bit of James Hunt thrown in and a
Yeah.
bit of Travis Pastrana.
Yeah.
I'd come to that party.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Quite happy.
Yeah.
What annoys you most in life?
Oh, crap, loads.
Maybe Tilly should answer this one.
In loads. Like bad drivers on the motorway,
Yeah.
or just any bad drivers, to be fair.
Does that come from your time as a Hermes delivery driver?
Yeah.
One decision you'd change if you could?
Decision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What a good question.
Thank you.
What
Stop buying yourself time.
No, because what decision? What do I do? What?
If you had one decision to make again
Okay.
to change it for a better result in life or in racing, what would it be?
Honestly, I've not lived enough life, I don't think, to have enough important decisions being made at me. Honestly,
What a beautiful answer.
I haven't come into as many scenarios as what you might think.
What an absolutely beautiful
No,
answer.
I'm pretty happy where I've made it to so far.
Perfect. What was the last thing you did for the first time? Apart from walking on your teammate.
Yeah, my first impressions there. Not a top tip. So what's
The last thing you did for the first time.
last thing I did for the first time? I must have done it today. Did I?
You did a 134 around.
Oh yeah.
It's right.
Did a 134.5 around Oulton.
There you go.
That was the last thing I did, yeah, for the first time.
And that's exactly right.
Yep.
Because there ain't many people watching this that have done a 134.5 round Oulton.
Thank you.
Danny Kent might.
Danny Kent, perhaps. Keep going, Danny, if you're still running.
Yeah. Hey, Danny, if you listen to this and you're out running, you're doing great, mate. Keep going. If you had any superpower, what would it be?
Teleport, I think.
Why?
Teleport, because when you just want to get places, wouldn't you? And just going home or something, poof, you're there, ain't you?
Sort of like,
Yeah,
and you
that's it, boom. You know, like travelling and stuff. Just like, I like getting places quick, you see. So teleporting would do that for me.
which also goes back to the bad drivers.
Yeah, exactly. That skips at that point totally, doesn't it?
One food you could never give up.
Right, tea and biscuits, and that's a drink, but
What's
yeah,
that?
that's fine, yeah. Yeah.
What biscuits?
Well, any. Just any. You know, that family pack. Honestly, just any of them.
If you had a choice, chocolate hobnobs, custard creams, where are you going?
Custard cream's better to dip because then you get like all that like gravelly bits, don't you, at the bottom? And then you got no tea left because all the hobnobs soak it all up.
The hobnobs, they drink it for you, don't
Yeah.
they? You're a man after my own heart. You really are. Let's have a look. What superstitions do you have?
Got a lot. Obviously, you got your typical like, put your glove on your right first, boot, whatever. Then I got some weird ones. I got to have the same porridge every day. But I got to have my gel at right routine. I got these like Moldex earplugs, and they've got like, they're white, but they've got like different colours on them.
Okay.
Some have got more colour than the other, and the one with the most colour got to go in my left ear first. There's tiny little stuff that it all adds up. Honestly, my life is like a Lego instructions of like what to do. Honestly, it's terrible. I could do without it, to be honest.
Do you ever find yourself going, for God's sake, not again?
Why have I told myself that I've got to do this? You know what I mean?
You could talk yourself out of it.
It's not happening, man. I've gone too deep.
Final two questions. The first one is in two parts. I know we've done this before on the audio, but for those who haven't caught that episode from a couple of years ago, what's your favourite corner and why?
Ooh, favourite corner. Ooh, that's a good point. My favourite corner, I want to say, is probably Assen. The bit at the back, I don't know what it's called. The run into the Gert Timmer chicane, the one before that.
Ruskenhoek?
No, I don't think it is.
Hoghider.
Might be. So it's something.
I know which one you mean. The one that goes through the dip and it sort of bounces through it that way.
Yeah.
Do that right? I know it's that way first, isn't it? And then that way. I know what I
That
meant.
section of circuit there is unbelievable.
The last because watching World Superbikes through there, even Greg and JT, as the bikes are coming through, the back's pushing through and they're sliding all the way through it.
Yeah.
And then they go through that little dip and then you're back through
That fast
to the
bit.
left-hander through into the
Right,
chicane.
left. Yeah, that's an awesome bit of track, that is, yeah.
I think Danny was saying yesterday when we spoke to him that he'd love BSB to go back to Assen.
Yeah, everyone would, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Everyone would.
Because a lot of the British riders have a lot of success at Assen.
Yeah.
Where did you get your rookies podium?
Saxonry.
I couldn't remember where it was. I was kind of hoping.
I got close at Assen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got fourth by that, and then I was a tiny bit off podium, but yeah, no, Saxonry.
And the final question. What's your best hire car story?
Well, I want to say, one we got, it was Mugello 2018. I was in rookies. I was with my mechanic, James Ansell, who's my mechanic now, actually. He's come back first time. and we were running late for the flight as usual, Sunday night, and we were racing round. There was a really slow like Italian man on a bike, ran dead slow. So we overtook him, like pipped him in that, having a right laugh. Next corner, threw it in, and there was a massive boulder in the road. You hit it. Both tyres like blew up, like bang bang, and that was it. And then we were just stuck there, stuck in this lay bar. Couldn't do anything. We're still like 2 hours from the airport. Stuck, missed the flight. Had to then sleep outside at the airport because we went to Pisa airport. Then they kick you out for like 5 hours during the night. So we sat outside in this like dead sketchy like waiting area with like people like I don't know, smoking all the time. And yeah, but then we managed to finally get back. But then we flew in at a totally different airport to where the car was. And then anyway, yeah, that was probably best car story for the wrong reasons. So.
No, they're the right reasons. I'm more than happy with those.
No, it was just so funny how we were just all laughing and then it just went bang like, to nothing.
Did the bike come past you as well?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Max, I have thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah, me too.
Absolute pleasure to have you back on the show, mate. And what I'd like to do, towards the end of the season, we get a chance to do it again. Let's have a look back at the year, see how you got on, see where we're at. And until then, best of luck this weekend, Oulton Park, and for the rest of the season. But ladies and gentlemen, it's Max Cook.
Thank you. Cheers, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.